Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We're back again with our OWASP Project Spotlight series. And this time we have a very interesting project which is around domain protection. And the project name is the OWASP Domain Protect Project. And this project caters to domain protection for organizations. There are tons of projects which are there or tools which are there which are paid. So this project can help you setting up everything just using the open source content on your cloud environment. So, without further ado, let's introduce Paul, who is the project owner, get to know him more, and learn more about the project. Hi, Paul. Welcome to the Project Spotlight series, and thank you so much for joining me. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Vandana. Good to see you again after about 9 months. And this time not in person, but I'm sure we will meet again in person soon. Great to see you again.
Yeah, likewise. And I'm so glad to see you here. We want to know about you first, and then we'll move ahead and get to know more about what Domain Project or Domain Protect Project is all about.
Sure. So I'm Paul Schwarzenberger, and I specialize in cloud security. Um, so I work for different companies. I was project leader. I do cloud security training, and just like cloud security across AWS, GCP, and Azure.
Oh, nice. And how did you come up with this idea of Domain Protect Project?
Well, I was at the time working in Over Energy, which is an energy company in the UK, and we started off a bug bounty program. So, as I'm sure everybody listening knows, a bug bounty program is where you have researchers that can try hacking into a particular company's websites and find vulnerabilities in an ethical way and report them. So we started off this program, and what we found was that about half of the issues that were being reported to us were actually relating to subdomain takeover. And I'll explain what subdomain takeover is shortly. But that's really what inspired me to create something, because we didn't have anything. I couldn't find anything available other than very expensive paid services. There was nothing in the open source community that was aimed at protecting. What was in the open source community was really tools that could help bug bounty researchers, which is a bit different.
I agree. So let's get straight into the project and get to know what the project is all about.
Okay, right. So what I'm going to do first, before I really say anything about the project, I just want to explain, with a demonstration, what subdomain takeover actually is, because this is the issue that we're protecting against. We're protecting with this OWASP project, Domain Protect. So I've just logged into my AWS account here, and if you can imagine, I've just created an application. Now, one of the services that I can use to create an application is Elastic Beanstalk. It's just a simple way to spin up a website. So here's my Elastic Beanstalk environment. And you can see that there's a particular name, domain name for it, which is this OWASP -- whatever, and then a region, and then .elasticbeanstalk.com. So if I was to click on that, I can see here this nice picture, which unfortunately I didn't take myself. This is Cocovado National Park in Brazil. I haven't even been there, but I would love to go. Sorry, not Brazil, Costa Rica. So I would love to go there. It looks fantastic. But anyway, getting distracted slightly. This is on an Elastic Beanstalk environment. So imagine that I've built this as a web developer. And what you can see is that this the fully qualified domain name for this is this owasp.eust1.elasticbeanstalk.com. So that isn't actually very useful if I'm a company and I'm a travel company trying to advertise this fantastic national park. I actually need something to point to that from my domain, whatever it is, like, nationalpark.travelcompany.com. So in this particular case, I have created a record, a DNS record, and this DNS record happens to be in Cloudflare. There are lots of different services that you can use to create DNS records. So here it is. So Corcovado. So if I go to this, I should be able to. Actually, I'm just going to do this in a different browser. So right. So I've got another browser here and going to corcovado.celidor.co.uk. So you'll see it's exactly the same picture, but under the hood, there's actually, in this case, there's a CNAME entry. So CNAME standing for canonical name that points corcovado.celidor.co.uk to the real place that this is, this owasp.elasticbeanstalk.com. So it all works fantastically. That's all very, very good. But then what happens, Elastic Beanstalk environments are quite expensive. So now let's just suppose we decide, maybe a couple of years later, we've got a developer or somebody is looking at the cost of this project and thinks, wow, this is pretty expensive, this AWS account. And we don't need this anymore. We're not actually using it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click on this and we're just going to terminate the environment. So so that's what we're going to do. And I've just got to confirm that. So let's just confirm that and terminate it. So that will shortly be gone. But what that means is that anybody else could actually come along and create an Elastic Beanstalk environment in their own AWS account with this name. And then my DNS record, which I have forgotten, I didn't know, I forgot to delete that, would actually end up pointing to an attacker site. So that's the issue. And this isn't an unusual issue. It actually happens quite a bit. We've had quite a few examples of, for example, government departments being taken over. Oh, not completely taken over, but having some subdomains, with unsavory material posted to them. So so that's one example of the sort of issue that you can get quite commonly particularly in sort of larger companies where people come and go and resources get cleaned up maybe a couple of years after they're created, perhaps by a completely different engineer from the person who created it in the first place. So so that's I guess one example. And then just to sort of have a similar example, you can see here I've created in AWS, I've created a few different hosted zones. So sticking to the national park theme, I've got a hosted zone here, celidor.io. And then I've got another hosted zone, which is a subdomain. So this one is Serengeti National Park in Africa, .celidor.io. So, and then within here, in celidor.io, if I sort of go down here, I can see I'm delegating this domain to the other hosted zone. So that's all great, all works wonderfully. But again, same sort of thing. What happens when, maybe a couple of years later, we think, well, we don't need to spend the money on this. We don't need this anymore. So just going to delete this, So I've got to make sure I delete the right one here. Otherwise, that could cause me some issues. So I'm just going to delete this hosted zone. So deleted the hosted zone. It's gone. I've saved the money. But whoops, I've forgotten to delete the subdomain delegation. So again, potentially somebody might be able to come along, create their own hosted zone with the same name servers, and then take that over. So I'm just going to pause here. Does that give you an idea and do you think it gives the listeners an idea of the sort of issue that we're trying to protect against here?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is very interesting. But how can somebody pick up this project and start using it? Like, where can they find it?
Sure. So what I've spoken about so far, I haven't actually spoken about the project yet. I've just spoken about what we're trying to protect against. So if this is an issue for your company, or you think it might, or organization, or you think it might be, then yeah, do check out this project. So so first of all, and I haven't actually sort of practiced this, but oh yes, we got to it. That was fortunate. So here we are. So your starting point for all of this is OWASP.org. So OWASP.org is the OWASP website, and in this case, I've gone straight to Domain Protect. And you can find out about everything about it here. If you haven't actually got straight to this page, you can go to projects and then browse all projects and just search for Domain Protect. So you've got information about it here. You can contact me through my OWASP email address, or OWASP. There's also, if you're a member of OWASP, you can, or I think even if you're not, you can access the OWASP Slack channel. And there's a Slack channel, a Slack workspace, and within that Slack workspace, there's a channel called Project Domain Protect, and I'll pick up any messages on there. The other way that you can do is you can actually go to the code repository, and the code repository itself on GitHub is the organization is domain-protect, and then within that, we've actually got several repositories in there. And the main project is itself called domain-protect. So yeah, that's where you can find out more information.
That's great. So, and when you talk about contribution, how can people contribute to this project?
Well, many different ways. The best thing is to get in touch with me first, and let me know what you're interested in, how you're interested in contributing. So there are many different ways, and also it depends what you want to get out of it as a contributor. So the project itself consists of infrastructure in AWS. We also have a version for Google Cloud Platform. So if, for example, you might be a Python developer, but you might want to get more experience in deploying serverless functions into the cloud, and then this would be a great opportunity to develop that experience. And it would be great for the project team because we'd gain your knowledge of Python and you could help improve the project. Equally, you might not be a developer. You might want to help with the documentation, or you might want to. You might be familiar with AWS and you want an opportunity to become more familiar with Google Cloud Platform, or you might be working with Microsoft Azure and want to have similar functionality on there. So all sorts of different ways. But first thing to do is just get in touch with me, and we can have a chat, or either via Slack or via a call, and just work out how you think you might want to contribute and what you'd like to get out of it.
Totally amazing. Is there anything else that you want to share with the audience that they should be knowing about?
Well, I would just quickly like to see what has actually happened in my environment since I deleted those two things. And this is a bit of an unknown, actually. I don't know. So I'm just going to go into my Slack channel. So by the way, I mean, what you're looking at here is a schematic of all of the different components that get deployed, all deployed with Terraform. So I mean, that's another thing. If you're maybe you want to learn a bit more about Terraform, this could be an opportunity as well. Terraform being the most popular language for infrastructure as code in the cloud. But anyway, let me just bring up my Slack channel. So here's my Slack channel, and that I use for test purposes. Since, if you remember, I actually deleted name server record, and you can see that that's actually been picked up while we've been talking. This is all live. We actually it's detected that this is vulnerable. So that's interesting. And then I also detected the Cloudflare one, Another thing here, by the way, is there's an integration with HackerOne. So we actually created the issue in HackerOne. And what sort of then happened is, we actually created, did an active takeover ourselves, to stop, which is supported for some resource types, which stops a hacker or bug bounty researcher from taking over the resource. So you can see that quite a lot has happened since we've been talking. It's actually been working for us in the background with all these serverless functions. So I just wanted to show you that as well. So over to you again, Vandana.
Yeah, this is really, really good, especially the Zoom version. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing amazing insights about the project. I think this is really, really helpful. And a lot of people, especially when we tag along the bug bounty aspect, they really get really interested in something which is different zone, different project. So I feel like a lot of people are going to reach out to you. Especially, there are many budding bug bounty hunters who want to get access to such open source tools because this is only making the internet secure.
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, this tool is really to protect against attackers, but nevertheless, any bug bounty researcher or somebody interested in developing their skills would learn a lot from this on how they could do something similar to actually make lots of money from bug bounty research. Yeah, exactly. A lot of the same techniques you could use as a bug bounty researcher. That's right.
Right. So I think this is amazing. Thank you so much for agreeing to be part of the Spotlight series. It was wonderful to meet you in person in Dublin and now virtually, and hopefully we will meet soon in a couple of months and we can chit chat more about the project.
No, that sounds great. And I just wanted to say, Dan, I think it's a great series that you've got here, the Spotlight series. I've watched, well, I'd be lying if I said I've watched all of them, but I have watched some of them. And every time I watch one, I learn about, some new OWASP project, which, in most cases I didn't know about. So, thank you for all the work you put into, keeping that going. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Means a lot.
Okay,
Means a lot.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. And we will soon meet again. And for everyone, you can reach out to Paul if you have any questions, anything that you want to set it up. He's amazing, reachable. So you can just reach out to him. Thank you, Paul. Thank you again.
Thank you, Vandana. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.